My name is Karolina Stampfer. I'm originally from Austria and I've come here to the EU delegation to work on the portfolio of IDPs, meaning internally displaced persons. So when I came to the European Union delegation in Georgia, I was given the mandate of dealing with the so-called IDP folder, meaning all the programs that the EU delegation or the EU Commission actually is leading with the government in support of internally displaced persons here in Georgia. The European Commission's strong engagement with internally displaced persons actually started in particular after the conflict in 2008, when thousands of families were fleeing, especially South Ossetia, from the conflict areas, and there was a threat that they would not have any roof over their head for winter. This is when major European Union support flew into Georgia, which was then actually given to the Georgian government so that the Georgian government could provide shelter to these IDPs. So the initial focus was definitely on housing, but then the European Union did what is actually its strength, that is a more comprehensive approach. This more comprehensive approach included not only housing but also socio-economic integration, which in itself then also included, for example, infrastructure, be it kindergartens or school rehabilitations or the construction of roads leading to IDP settlements, but also the construction of gas pipelines that would benefit an entire village, or same for water provision, where also the host communities could profit. And it was known to them that they got these very particular infrastructure projects, very needed infrastructure projects, due to the presence of IDPs in their area. We have also tried to create more income. To create jobs is very difficult, but at least to increase income of internally displaced persons, especially in the agricultural field. We've been cooperating with other international organizations such as the Food and Agricultural Organization in the regions of Shida-Kartli and Huimo-Kartli with very successful cost-sharing activities where IDPs were given smaller or bigger donations according to their own contribution actually. My last visit actually to the field, I could myself see how IDPs had made out a very good living, for example breeding pheasants or running rabbit farms. So quite a number of internally displaced persons, recently displaced internally displaced persons, have made a good living out of these cost-sharing projects. The rationale behind this whole concept of durable housing is actually not only housing, but to make this housing decent and durable in a sense that it's englobing everything that everyday life needs of people are. Durable housing actually means that housing and the everyday life of these displaced persons should be decent, because displacement can last longer or shorter, but every day is a valuable day. Every day for a human being is the most valuable thing that one has in one's life. And this concept just means that if there is a return or not, whatever, but during the time that people will be in displacement, their situation should not be a temporary one, but for every day it should be as if it was permanent. This is what the EU had in mind. Our main focus is, right now, is to help the government to conceive livelihood strategies and an action plan which will help actually to implement livelihood activities throughout Georgia for IDPs and host communities in different fields, be it agriculture, but especially also in small business creation or again vocational training. The European Union's assistance to Georgia with regards to IDPs actually came in 4 waves in 4 to 5 years. The first one was right after 2008 and was obviously focused on the new IDPs that were a result of the 2008 conflicts. Keyword, the cottage houses. The second one was the realization that there were many IDPs that had not been catered for, dating back to the 90s. And so the second program was actually targeted mostly towards these IDPs, rehabilitation of their housing. The third one was actually a new stage, the construction of new houses so that IDPs could be resettled from housings that were in very bad state and could not be repaired. And then came a fourth wave, and this is the last one. That's actually in order to streamline IDP necessities into general government development strategies to help the ministry that's responsible for IDPs, the MRA, to carry out this streamlining, and also to start focusing more and more on helping IDPs to increase their income with so-called livelihood activities. The European Union's support to Georgia on IDPs over the past 5 years amounted to around 150 million euro. So the European Union did not leave the government alone in that, but provided valuable technical assistance via competent organizations. For example, helping the municipal authorities to carry out community consultations on which infrastructure projects would be priority, or helping the authorities to write project proposals in order to be able to compete for proposals. But also, for example, on how to carry out privatizations, privatization of, for example, apartments to IDPs, so that they would become their own property. So it's quite a complex issue to carry out. But there were organizations right at hand who were helping to operationalize these processes, but also to go hand in hand with government officials and going into the field in order to carry out these processes to the best. I've been visiting several settlements in these years, of course, and I've actually been very touched by IDPs coming up to me and thanking. And what was really touching was this elderly couple that had lost their children in the war, but who were raising the 2 grandchildren, and who had succeeded in actually co-sharing one cow that got a calf, which they sell as salt, and they could actually then little by little buy geese. There is still some way to go in many areas, even in the newly built apartment blocks, for example in Boti, where people yet need to find work. And this is a challenge that we are trying to face now with new livelihood programs, creating small businesses and small self-employment for IDPs that have been resettled.